Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to make you stop using boring buttons. We're going to show you how to customize your buttons in GreenShift using the default GreenShift buttons. Okay, so we have a blank page here where we can do our experiments with the button advanced block here in the block inserter. Now this is a GreenShift block, and you can see GreenShift content blocks right there. And there are a whole bunch of options that we're going to go through, all right? One of the primary reasons for having a button is to direct someone to a link or give a label to a link. Because if you just put in a link right here, an HTML or URL, some people might not click it, or it might just be hard to read if we put it in plain text on our website. And that's pretty plain and simple stuff. So I'm going to make some sections and columns here. Oops. Why isn't it? I'm going to make some sections and columns and rows over here just so we can keep things organized. So the first thing we're going to talk about in this video is the foundation, typography, and spacing of the block. So we have another video taking a look at each and every single option here. But in this video, we're going to show you how to make customized buttons in order to get that click-through rate up. Try to get your visitors, your readers to just click on the damn button just to make it look pretty. So let's go ahead and give some headings to these. So we'll call this default buttons. And then we're going to put this over here. We can duplicate this and put this over here. We'll call this custom buttons. So over here, you can see that, we have all the controls here. You can add your link, you can change the label. But one good thing about GreenShift, well, and other block libraries and themes is that they have some presets for the buttons. You might not want to use these directly. You're going to want to customize them, with your custom theme colors and fonts and so on and so forth. So this is something that's you can test them out here as well, and we're going to show you how to make some of these. And you can see there's a whole host of different kinds of buttons that you can use. So we're going to stick with the default one over here, and this works just fine for many purposes. You can go ahead and type in your customized text here. But one thing is a concept that we want to share with you called the golden ratio of buttons. So we'll drag and drop this over here. Okay, and then we can center this up. And the golden ratio is basically a ratio for padding, spacing for your content within the button itself. It seems a little tight. You can see here that on our header that we made, it just says subscribe and it just has a border on it. It doesn't look too much like a button. It doesn't compel you to actually click on it. So let's go over here down under spacing, and over here in padding, we're going to put a ratio of 2:1. So 15 pixels on the top and 15 pixels on the bottom. And then on the right and left, we're going to put 30 pixels. Now, that alone makes it very different. And you can see that the spacing might be a little bit different here. Might seem a little similar, but again, they're very different because of the amount of space that we have on it. You don't have to stick to this. Again, if we went over here and took a look at the other presets, you can see that some of them are kind of too tight or kind of squished in. And by having this, it's a bit easier to see, it's a bit easier to read, rather than just like highlighting your text just like that. It's basically the idea between the spacing between or adding the padding in a certain ratio like this. Next, we want to talk about the typography, and we can change up our font well, we can keep the size like that, but we can change the font weight to 600 or uh, or bold, depending on uh, what theme that you have. But in this case, 600 makes it stand out a bit more, and it just looks much better than just whatever comes default. So keeping out around 600 as the font weight makes it a bit easier to take a look at. It catches your attention a bit more, right? And then for the icon, right, sometimes depending on what it is that you have on the button, it's a good idea to have a simple icon because icons are a bit easier to take a look at visually. So over here, we have, under the presets, we have the icon tab. Just enable icon, and you're going to get an icon right there. So for example, buy this now. Cart, we have a couple of shopping cart icons here. We can put the icon on the other side. We can put the icon on a separate line. It's really up to you, but probably better if you put it to the side. We'll just keep it on there. Or maybe that works. Or we can just probably have it as pixels. Let's probably put it 3030. How about that? And then we can change how this looks like on the mobile desktop, tablet, and or mobile, right? Mobile horizontal even. We can also flip the X and Y, right? Depending on what you need. And this is just the library that we have. We can also upload an image or just put SVG code if we wanted to scale it up right. But we have an icon library here, and you can just put that on there. Okay. So, those are some key points. And the next is something to add to the overall look that will encourage your users to click on the button is to adjust the border. So we can put a border radius on this, and we can link this, and we have a pill-shaped border, which we can go ahead and just like type in 50, and it's going to look like that. And there's actually some psychology that goes into deciding whether you want this pill type or the rounded edges kind of button. And in a nutshell, it just has to do with when it's curvier, when it's rounder, it means it's more friendly, it's more enticing. You're not really being forced to do anything. Let's go ahead and duplicate this just so you can see the difference. And then let's make a rounded one, and we're gonna, square one. And we're gonna put 4 pixels on all the sides. And the difference you can see is that, let's go ahead and put some spacing. I'll just add a margin to this. Oops. Okay, there you go. You can see that the psychology for the square one is that it looks like a spreadsheet. It's a bit more serious, it's a bit more formal. So you might not want to use this to try and encourage people to do stuff. It's more of, if you want to get something, let's say a download button would probably make more sense than this. If you wanted to persuade people to do things, you might want to use the pill shape. All right, with this, let's go ahead and move over to the next section. All right, and we'll just pop this over here, and we're gonna add in a heading right here. We're gonna call this, we're gonna show you how to make a neon glow button. So we're gonna start off with a simple button right here, and we're gonna center that up down there. And let's change this to something like, okay, and then we're gonna follow the same kind of guidelines, same kind of golden ratio rule, and we're gonna go ahead and add some spacing here. So 2 is to 1, so 15, 15, 30, 30. Okay, that looks good, and we're gonna keep it as that. We won't mess with the border radius anymore, but we are going to play around with the colors. So under the background, we're going to put a gradient, and we're going to change the gradient to something like that. Okay, and we want to make this hip and modern, so we're going to add in a shadow, well, a couple layers of shadows just to make it stand out. So when we hover over it, when it looks like that, it's just fine. We're going to have a where is it? Shadow. We're going to have a normal shadow over here, right? And we're going to make this just dark. Okay, and then we can probably center this up, 25. Okay, yeah, 25 all around. And it's just going to stay there for some depth. And we're going to have another one over here. And we'll have another shadow over here. We'll just put this at 0. And we'll make this darker. Okay. And we're going to have another wider one, which is going to be a similar color to the button itself. And we're going to make this, let's say if this is 25, let's make this 50. And this is like periwinkle bluish. So maybe something like that. A bit darker. Okay. And okay, that's not buttoning. Okay. And then we can have this one go on the outer. And you can see that it glows a bit differently. So we can make this one 100 if we wanted to. I might make it a bit exaggerated, but you can see that it looks like it's glowing. And we can also have another one over in here, and let's make it purple, I guess. And then let's put this as 0 or 9 or 0. Or let's put it 25. And you can see that it's glowing a lot more. So you can play around with these options, and if you're scrolling through the website with your cursor and you can see that our cursor is moving over here, it's like screaming like, hey, it's like a flashing light without actually having to animate it, only when they come across it. And you can animate it in some transitions over here in the advanced tab. But it's looking really good just as it is. So, there's your neon glow, and you can see, hopefully it comes through in the recording that depending on how dark you make the colors and how wide you make them, you can see that it actually affects the blur of the shadow goes out a fair bit, just so that it actually catches your attention. You can make it more offensive to the eyes if you wanted to really grab the attention of your users. All right, so for this next one, we're going to be making a 3D, oh, silly me, 3D push button. Now, we're going to want to try and make this from scratch. You can go ahead and just use one of the presets if you wanted to, and just like that. We want it to look something like this. And you can go ahead and just use it as it is, right? This has a 3D effect on it, but let's go ahead and reset this and just delete it. And we're going to show you how to do it from scratch if that's something that you wanted to know how the process would work. So let's go ahead and change the label to something like, and let's go under typography, font weight, 600, right? Make it bold and then make it all caps. We want this to be a play now kind of button. So for the background, let's go ahead and choose something a bit different. Let's go with red, and we can go ahead and add in an icon over here. There you go, and then let's make it a bit bigger. Okay, that looks good. Next, let's mess with the spacing. Again, 2:1, so 15, 15, 30, 30. Okay, that's looking good. And you can see that it's not very 3D. So what are the steps that we can take to make it start to look 3D? So one of the things that make something look 3D is motion. So what we can do is go under the Advanced tab, and we're going to make use of the CSS transform and transitions. And you can see here we have initial, hover, and we have active. So we're going to set it as active state, and we're going to shift Y by 4 pixels. Now, how's that going to look like? When we click it, it's going to move down. You can see it's kind of slow, so let's click it, change it to linear. Let's set this to 0, just so that it's instant. And you can see it's moving up and down, but all it is just moving up and down. So how do we give it the illusion that it is a 3D button? So we can do that with shadows. You might want to add a border to this, but all we're going to do is go under shadow, and then we'll have a just a normal shadow, let's say like this, and we're going to go with the red, and we're going to make it a darker shade of red. And over here, we want the blur to be 0, and there it is, right? We want this to be over by 4 pixels. Oh, well, we want this to be down by 4 pixels, which is what we set it as. And as you can see, it's just moving down. So it's basically like a border at this point. Now, when it's inactive, we can set it as that, and you can see that it moves down. So we just have to make sure that we have an active state button. You can select this one. You can set it to something else. Basically, you won't see it. And that's pretty cool. But what if we wanted to have something similar to the presets where it moves to the side? It's really easy. We'll go ahead and make a couple columns out of this, just so that we can move this over here. We'll duplicate this and then move this one over here, right? So this is just the vertical. And we want this to move to the side a little bit. So what we can do is go under the transform and transformations, the active one, and then just put another value into your X. Now you can see it's moving to the side, but it doesn't really give us the illusion that it is being pressed. So let's go over here, and the same thing, not with spacing, with the shadow, we want to put 4 pixels over there. And now it kind of looks like it's being pushed. Now you can add a delay to this. Again, over here, let's take a look at that. Let's say 1, it's exaggerated. You can see that it's being pressed slowly. So again, depending on what you're working with, this might be something that you might want to work with, right? Depending on what kind of effect that you want to show. But let's go ahead and set this to 0.25, and it looks like it's spring-loaded rather than just like a clicky button. So, this might be something that you'd be interested in adding or integrating into your website, depending on the kind of theme or user base that you'll have. So this makes it kind of fun, and makes it a very positive experience for the user themselves. So, again, it really depends on what you want to do. All right. So the next section is about making a button that's more focused on conversion. So, well, basically, this is just a 2-line button. So it gives you a description with the button itself to give it some description, just to give some added confidence to the user. And we'll give you an example as to why you would want to use this. Or it's very clear in the example that we're going to use where you might want to use something like this. So let's go ahead and set up this button. Let's call this, okay. And we're going to go and put over an icon. And let's download. Okay, I'm sure you've seen buttons like this before. Okay, that should be okay. We flip X, flip Y, it makes no difference. And over here, we'll have our secondary label. But first, let's go ahead and set up our typography, font weight 6. There you go. And then for our spacing, let's go ahead and do the same rule. 15, 15, 30, 30. That's looking like a legit download now button. Now for the border, let's put the radius on this. 20, 25. Okay, that's looking good. And the next thing we want to do is change the background color, the classic download button color, which is some form of green, right? We can add animations to this if we wanted to, but the real meat and bones of this one is going to be our secondary label. So you can see, even by default, in the placeholder text here, it says hurry up or something like that. So in this case, we want to put something like, okay, and we can center this up if we wanted to, and it's looking like a legit download now button. We can change the spacing over here, and that's looking pretty good. But we'll just keep it at that, and it's a bit easy to read. For the typography of the label, we want to also make it, we want to make the subtext 12, and we want to make the main text let's say 20. And you can see just for ratio, that's going to be the difference that we have over here. And for the size, well, let's go ahead and just click on flexible aligns, keep it on automatic. And then for size over here, we want this to be variable. So automatic on here, or on mobile, we want this to be the maximum width. So percent 100 with whatever we're going to use, just so it occupies all of the space that is provided, just so it's easier to look at. Because if we went back to our desktop mode, it might just scrunch it down or what within the confines. So that's a good tip for keeping things a bit responsive for mobile. So there you go. We want to just show you that it gives some confidence when you put some subtext on whatever it is that you are making as a button that you want customers to definitely click on. So this inspires some confidence. Again, hurry up, or get this while it lasts, limited time offer are some good examples as to convincing or enticing your users to click your button. Okay, so for this next one, it's going to get a bit more complicated, more advanced, but all this is using dynamic linking. So we can make another section over here, and let's add in a heading and call this And a great example for this, and we use this in another video, in fact, are affiliate links. So obviously you don't want to say buy this now, or well, you could put this buy this now, but you don't want to put something like, right? Or okay, so that seems enticing, that seems inviting. Let's go ahead and, change this up with our own ideas. Set this up like that. Let's keep the text just that simple. Let's change the label, or rather the background color, to something a bit inviting. So blue, get yours today. These are great colors to use, simple primary colors. And over here, we want to change our spacing, our padding, 15, 15, 30, 30. And as an affiliate link, you want to really convince somebody without much pressure to go ahead and click. So on the border over here, let's go ahead and change the radius to, let's say, 50. Okay, there you go. And it's nice and round. And we can add an icon if you wanted, but that's just fine. Or if you wanted, get yours right? So you're not really being deceptive or lying or anything. That's a great way to do it. Or subscribe now, or get your subscription, or get a discounted price, right? Because sometimes when you have an affiliate link, you can add something like that. So we'll have that as our label. And we want to make sure that we have no follow and remove no follow and remove sponsored, or yeah, set these up for SEO safety. So especially when you have affiliate links, now you can put your link over here, or we can enable dynamic URL. So we can have custom meta over here, but we don't have one. So let's go ahead and set that up. Let's head over back to our backend, and let's go over to SCF, and we have videos on using SCF. Let's add a new field group, and we'll just call this URL. We'll call this right, affiliate link, just as an example. Okay, and then we can save the changes right here. And we're gonna make sure it applies to if page is equal to, or if post type is equal to page. So it's gonna apply by default on all pages. So we're happy with that. So let's go ahead and save this just for now. And let's reload this. And we're going to get this custom area over here for affiliate links. Now, to set this up, we're going to go back over here to enable dynamic URL, custom meta, and we're going to click over here, custom field, and you should find it over here. If it's not there, let's go ahead to page, right? Because we set it as page only. And if we can find it within here, it should be somewhere here. We can go ahead and just type here link. And over here, let's type this. And we'll just link this up as our affiliate link. So, okay, so all I had to do was just refresh it, excuse me. And, custom field, I found affiliate link over here, and it's going to grab the link that we placed on here. So you can see it's automatic that it's going to pull it from there. All right, so let's go ahead and save this and test drive our new custom buttons page. So here we have the page that we just made, and we have these, right? It's just the default buttons. And then these are some custom buttons we've made. Again, going over the fact that we have the 2-in-1, 2-to-1, 2:1 golden ratio of spacing around the block. The difference between a pill or lozenge shaped button versus like a square one, they're both useful. Making a neon glow one, utilizing the shadows for that, making it enticing and modern, and creating 3D push buttons of different styles depending on what your needs might be. And then next, we also made a simple 2-line marketing button in case, again, you wanted to convince people even more, persuade them to click on the button. And last but not least, we've also made a dynamically linked button using SCF and custom fields, custom meta, in order to maybe use it for an affiliate link. And when we click on this, it's going to take us to our channel. So if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Show this kind of video to other nerds like us. If you have any comments, suggestions, please let us know. We really value your support and feedback. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, if you found this video helpful, be sure to check out one of our other videos, or go ahead and check out our channel and subscribe to see more content like this.